morning, good afternoon, good evening. Depends when you're watching this. Racing 393. Now, before I start this video, right off the bat, what I'm going to say is I didn't get any footage. It was a really hot day, and I had the camera with me, but I sort of, for the first practice session, I didn't clip it onto my hat. And then as sort of time went on, I sort of got involved in I use this in inverted commas, trying to set up the LMP12. And for the rest of the day, I didn't put the camera on, so there's no footage. All I've got on my phone here, which I haven't screen captured anything, so you're going to have to. Well, I'm not. No point me lying about it. I've got the times on my phone, and this isn't going to be a very long video. So we turned up on the 11th of May to Stokenchurch Community Centre, and Wycombe Radio Control Car Club set up a test and tune day, which I thought I was looking forward to. Well, I was, and I did enjoy it. Looking forward to this day from the day it was mentioned, and I think it was probably about a good 6-7 weeks ago. And I was really looking forward to this, more so than the club meeting. Where shall I start? Okay, so on a previous video that you hopefully may have watched, I messed around setting the car up and, setting up things that I thought would work. Basic knowledge from the back of the Schumacher manual, to be honest. I haven't deviated away from that, to be honest, very much. I did put an emphasis on getting the car to turn in. I'll come back to that during this video. Hopefully it won't be too long. I don't want to rabbit on just seeing me talking. I will try and get to the point quicker. So we turned up, helped set the track up. Saturday morning, 9 o'clock. I got there quite early, as I usually am, so I was waiting. But it doesn't matter. Only takes me about, 45, 50 minutes to get there. Seem to be quite familiar with the route now, so it's not so daunting as in, where am I going? What am I doing? So, yeah, so not too far. Chatted to both Marks throughout the day, which I'll come back to. That's Mark Stiles and Mark Goodyear, I think. Is that his name? I think he's on the list. I'll correct that if it's wrong during the video. So out we went for the first practice. Now, I'm just going to grab my phone here because I've got RC timings on here. You can check yourself anyway. You don't have to, I'm not going to, there's no point making things up here. So there was only like minis, hot hatches and LMP12s. We did have GT12s. There might be some MTCs. I could be wrong there, but anyway. Sessions were 20 minutes long. I wouldn't say too long, because you don't have to do the whole 20 minutes. And to be fair, the race is at 8 minutes. So I think, although the batteries, we'll come on to that in a minute, the batteries should they last 20 minutes? People are going round. I mean, I don't know if they're doing the full session. I didn't. I just went round until I thought I can't really do much more than what I'm doing. So on the first session, I'll give you an idea. You can't go by laps because people went on and off the track, so it's irrelevant. But I was worse. So best 10, 13.17, and my best was 12.96. So I don't know. For me, it's about me. But to put it in perspective, you've got to be in the very low single figures, as in, I'll rephrase that sounds ridiculous, a 9-second bracket, or at least a low 10, mid 10 to high 10, 11 if you're mediocre. Because I was like, I'm only going by the times what other people are doing. Doesn't mean you're mediocre if you're doing over that, but I think it is based on what was there. I mean, I'm doing like 13, my best 10, 13. When you go there, the other best 10 of the next guy, he was 10. That was 2 seconds a lap slower. That's ridiculous. Anyway, I did the basic setup. So what I then did, I haven't got my notes to hand here. Um, I did some changes. Now, what did I do? It wasn't much. I'll say straight off here, I was fairly disappointed in my performance. It just wasn't happening. I think what did I do? I left the gear in because the car wasn't turning in. But again, I'll come back to that. There's a thing that's bugging me about that. I did put more tyre grip on the front tyres. I did notice that there was two people sat opposite me who how can I rephrase this? Older gentlemen, but clearly knew their stuff. It was a fun day. They were going around in tandem, and it was really quite a sight to watch. They weren't as quick as when Mark Stiles went round there. He's in a different league. But I wasn't really talking about the speed. It was more the consistency, tied in with the conversations they were having about life. It was all, I'm not going to go into that. It's none of anyone's business other than theirs. And the car setup and just car stuff. It was interesting because it reminds me of like racing banter that when I was racing and things you talk about. It was interesting. And nevertheless, the cars were like stuck. And I'll come back to that in a minute as well. So I tried more grip on the front, more tyre softener. And we went out for round 2. So let's have a look at the results. So went out for round 2. I don't know, no different. So my best 10, 11.94 and 11.62. Now there's another guy out there who did the same times as me, so he was lapping at my speed, that made a change. But the fastest lap on that particular one was in the 9.5 second bracket, so way off. The car still didn't turn in. Now, come back to that. If I think, well, I suppose it isn't really, but some of my normal race routes and ideas doesn't transpire or transfer over to a 1/12 car, LMP12. I don't think it's not because I don't know. It's just a very different way. And I'm going to come back. There's lots of conversations I heard, which I'll quote from what I heard and what I thought. So it did make a lot of difference. And ultimately, I wanted the car a little more snappy. I'd like a car that's a bit more twitchy, especially these. I wanted it to turn in more, and it wasn't really doing that. Well, I'll rephrase that. It wasn't doing that under power. When it was on power and turning, it would push wide a lot. And when you come off the power, it snaps round. Now, it's probably that is driving style, because as I was sort of finishing up, because I left earlier because I had things still on the Saturday, I did watch the two drivers that were in front of me. I don't know their names, but I was more inclined to listen to the cars. And because of course they were easing off, but what they were doing, they was on the power out the corner, and it used to go, and they eased off, it would snap round. But I could understand, I could hear what they were doing on their triggers, or on the car itself, because I could concentrate on what the cars were doing, especially down the back straight and with this long sweeper, and then you could hear them just sort of feathering. So the style, it makes sense. I'm definitely not doing that. As in, I'm definitely not doing that. No, it's more a case of I ain't doing that way. That's something I'm losing time on. Now, if I did that, it's almost the car, if it's doing any slight turn, would push. And another thing is that if I did that and eased off probably too much, it would snap round. I couldn't do it like that. There's probably technique. And they weren't jutting around with the controller like this. I was watching them and they're very smooth. But coming back to that comment I've just made, Mark Styles was chatting to someone. But he was more or less chatting to a group. I just happened to be within earshot, so he wasn't talking directly to me. And he made an interesting comment actually, and I thought that goes against the grain. He was talking about when he was into RC years ago. I don't know if he meant the LMPs. Didn't hear that bit, but what he was talking about was the smoothness of the control when you're going around the track. In my head, I was thinking, before he got to the punchline, if you like, yeah, that makes sense. You got to be as smooth because smooth is fast. And the guys on the sat opposite me, they weren't erratic with their controls. So I thought that all makes sense. So this all quickly in my little brain. But then he said, I can't quote him word for word, but he came off of that and said, well, until you realise that's not the right thing to do, he said you've got to really stamp on the, he didn't use that word, but really be quite aggressive with the controls. Like in there, around there, get it, and he was talking about someone else, that the harder you drive it, the better it is. And in my head, I was thinking, well, it kind of makes sense, but there's absolutely no way I could do that. What I wanted was someone to have a go at my car and then say, well, that's wrong, you've got to do this. And then they go round there, think that's okay, there's still lots to do. But at least I then know it's the driving style, and I'll be quite happy with that. Although I haven't deviated off setup at miles off, it probably is driving style, because I could drive a bit more confidently. But if I stood in a different place on the podium, it really messed with my mind. I don't know what other people, I don't know if they've got, let me ask the question, do people have a preferred position on a podium? Me, I like to be on the left side and at the end. I don't like people next to me, like both sides. And it doesn't really matter, I suppose, your perspective of the track. It's just where you're, right, where you are and what you see. Because at one of my sessions, I wasn't at the end because there's some people that was all crammed up one end for some reason. So I was sort of in the other end. I don't know. I just couldn't cope. Have I got ADHD or something on regarding that? I don't know. Anyway, it's a separate story. But anyway, the interesting thing was what Mark Styles was talking about. And it makes sense when you watch the cars going round as quick as they are. They are absolutely pinning it when it's necessary. I've misinterpreted something at the WRCA round a couple of years ago now. Someone made a comment of, brakes? What do you want brakes for? And I then thought, surely you must be braking or doing something. Maybe they're easing off. Or I took that as they were almost flat out. And I thought, that can't be right. Although they look like they were, when he's watching these quick guys, they must be flat out. Maybe they are. Maybe, I don't know. But anyway, that was that conversation. And that was round 2. After the next round and subsequent rounds, I did 5 or 6 sessions. I didn't change anything because I thought there's absolutely no point because I'm not consistent enough to change it. My times pretty much reflected. Oh, I'm not going to read more on it now, but they've pretty much reflected the 11, 12. I didn't do a 10. Definitely not a 10. So 11 I might have done, 12, 13, second bracket. Where Mark styled it round there, he was in 8, 9. I can't quote exactly, but he was in the 8-second bracket. Maybe high, mid 8, but it doesn't matter. 4, 5 seconds quicker than me. 8. Yeah, 4 seconds. Maths. But the other thing, A little bit of a moan, although I did it as well, but I'm expected to because I can't help it because of my lack of skill. I was trying to not keep out of the way to be in the way, but I could see the cars coming up to me, and these are experienced drivers by the looks of it, whacking into the car. Now you think that that's going to happen, but I thought if you're that good, and they looked good, they talked the talk, knew the knowledge, whack into my car, and it was as if I was going all over the place. I'm not as quick, so yes, I'm in the way, but you should be able to go round me. I'm not making it difficult, and if I'm applying my normal race knowledge, don't weave across the track. Be predictable. Which I is. I was in the middle of the track, or the left or the right, depending on where these guys were. Now I had when you're going round, you kind of see the guys catching up with you, and you sort of get to the point of a track where you're familiar or comfortable with, and you stay wide. It wasn't too bad, but my car did get hit a lot. Knackered the shell. It broke the front body pin, as in the post. It snapped the Schumacher titanium screws, which I think they're no good. But although Schumacher say they had a problem with that, and they're not done up tight, I don't know what's going on. I keep snapping titanium screws. Maybe you shouldn't have titanium in those things to keep them like normal standard screws that come with the kit. So that's a little bit of not a moan, but you think, why are you hitting my car that hard? Even though I don't hit your car that hard, I can't keep up, one thing. But if you are, because they did make mistakes, I still avoided them, although I'm going slower. So there's a balance there, isn't it? If you're right on it and fast, and things happen, you're gonna hit things, aren't you? I guess because they were hitting things. You could hear the cars whacking into the side of the track. And I was trying not to do that as much. But overall, I was not quite flat out, but I couldn't pin it. I don't even know, should you be doing that even? It seems like hearing the cars, you should. You can hear the the motor wind up and zzz, out the corner. So zzz, where mine was all more progressive. One of the other drivers there who I sat next to, I was got him really well. He's quite new, although he might migrate, or he brought his Mini as well, which I did. We'll come back to that towards the end of the video. He might go to the Minis because the LMPs were too fast. He set his throttle down. And I thought, yeah, that's a good idea. So you don't go quite as quick. There was another little talk that Mark Stiles was doing, talking about tyre truing, which I'm well aware of, and what I've got is very agriculture compared to what he had. What he had is worth like what he said about. What did he say? Well, it doesn't really matter. I'm not going to quote exact. 600 odd quid. Might have been dollars, but it was automatic. So you set it and it does it. The other tips he was giving, I kind of knew this, where you chamfer the edges a little bit. If you glue them, you like glue the outside edge of the front tyre or even the back, I guess. That you chamfer that and then skim it, and then he was sort of sanding it. I mean, it clearly, and it does make sense, it's the only part of the car on any race car, real life or model car, that's touching the track. So it's the most important thing. And I think, although I do use trued tyres, the front ones were trued on the test and tune day. The back ones I trued myself. I have got trued tyres, so what I should have done is put a set of trued tyres on all round that Zen Racing had done, and then give it a go to see if it makes a bigger difference. The thing is, the car was pushing, so but I don't suppose you should be on the power like hard and expect the car to turn. I think it's more of a technique. If you know, well, not if you know, because you're gonna know, aren't you? Let me know if I'm right. I mean, on the power, off the power to get to snapping on the power. It makes sense in my head, but I don't think I can correlate that with the speed and reaction needed to do that. I don't think I'm quite there. So that's why I didn't mess around with the car too much. I did take the Mini. It's got zero suspension on it. It's an old Dave 21 commemorative kit that you've seen in my videos. Actually, it was quite quick, but in the corners, it really did snap round. And I just wasn't used to it. I was so alien to it. It was ridiculous. I had tyre softener on it, and I only took it out once. I borrowed a transponder from Mark Goodyear, who just lent it to me because I didn't have one in the Mini. And I can't remember which one I did. I was number 7. I'm not even overlooking. I wasn't nowhere near going around any speed. I've never driven it. So that needs a lot of setup, even for something that is so basic. Most people out there had a Mini of sorts, Camtech or Dave, which had front springs and it had the rear pod springs, or it does move, and some have side springs, a little bit like an LMP. But you need that for some tuning purposes. They were handling a lot better than what the one like mine, so it looks like I'm going to have to reevaluate the Mini side of it, because I wouldn't mind doing a club meeting with the Mini. I wouldn't mind doing that, but I'll just have to buy a kit. I might do that at some point during the summer, but concentrate on the LMP12 because it's the challenge of it, and I am shockingly crap at it. But there are other people that are as equally as on the same par as me. I wouldn't say they're as bad as me because that puts them into a, well, you're crap, that means I'm crap. But they were lapping in the same noob space, if you like. Club level racing, I need to find at least a second and a half, even a second a lap would help, which ain't a lot in time, but in race terms, it's huge, especially when you're almost at your limit, or you're at your limit, but nowhere near the car's limit. So overall, excellent. I'll say apologise. What I didn't do, I helped the track set up. I put the tables out. I was doing all sorts when I got there. When I went, I didn't put my table, stood it back. So I apologise. I forgot. There was everyone. There's a lot of people there still. And when I went, I was thinking to myself, I can't take the table back to where it's stored because the track's live. But I think you can just leave it stood up near the track entrance, so it's there ready. I just didn't think of that. So if you do watch this video, WRCC, sorry about that, but it was really good. I mean, there was one thing. So there was apparently there was some feedback for the day, which was very positive, and there was some negative stuff as well. Comments made, I haven't seen them, but it was sort of feedback that I read through Mark Styles. There's positive and negatives. Now, there was loads of positives, which I've pretty much mentioned in other videos in this one. As far as negatives, for me, a test and tune day is for someone, you can have someone, a seasoned racer, world championship level driver, and a noob. And you should be able to get maximum out of that day. From my perspective, now I think we paid £18. Mark said that they broke even. Now, isn't it supposed to be non-profit organisation? Is that how it works? To me, in my little business brain, you want to make some money, no? Or is it you're just doing it for the fun? Is that right? I mean, maybe you should. I think clubs shouldn't. Are they not supposed to be profit-making ventures? But then, how do you keep a club going? Oh, yeah. Let me know about that as well. I'm not sure how it works. So he said he broke even. From my understanding, it was £18 per person. What I would have liked, especially from where I'm at, is some, not coaching, but for someone that could drive, like Mark or the other Mark or someone else, to say, look, let me have a go at the car. Right, what you probably need to do is this, and let me watch what you're doing. Yeah, you need to be wider, smoother, this, that. On the power now. Power. Off. Just a session like that would have probably really helped me, because I'll take that on. And I've been quite happy, a session like that, to include something like that. I'm just trying to be realistic. If we paid 18, I would have paid 25 quid. I probably would have stretched to 30 if I got that, we call it coaching. Someone there to say, look, this is what you need to do. If I was there, so what you could have is as a tier. You can have, if you're just turning up just to do your car and you turn your laps and you go home, then it's, I don't know. People said they would pay more, so let's be realistic. People perhaps pay 20 quid. If you're a noob or you want some advice, so someone there that knows what they're doing, to spend a bit of time with you, I don't know what that would be. I don't know, maybe a session or 2 sessions. Then you pay £30, but that encourages you. Then, no, not encourages, but that then allocates you a professional, if you like, a skilled driver to help. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to get anything out of it. It just means knowledge. So, although you still might be slow, you've got the knowledge that someone's saying, "Well, this is what you need to do. This is what I recommend." You then have to go away and practice that, don't you? At least you know you're on the right lines. That's what I would have liked. But of course, setting this up for the first time, you don't know who's going to turn up. You don't know what's going to happen as an organizer. And £18 per driver worked, but with a sort of just 2 different scales. Maybe charge 20 for everybody, and I don't know, 30 if you want 2 sessions. If you want more sessions, then maybe have, well, any more than that, then you can I'll allocate time to you, but you're going to charge a bit more money. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I want Mark Stiles all day with me for 5 hours. It's just not going to work, is it? I think just whatever, be realistic. A couple of sessions with someone like Mark or any other guys out there who are quick, LMP I'm talking about, even Mini, it would all work, wouldn't it? To guide you. So you're not paying them, you're paying for their time, which is sort of like the club's time, isn't it? Yeah, so yeah, that's it, I think. I'm going to end it there. I don't know how long this video is. I've been recording now for 30 minutes, but the video won't be 30 minutes. So that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed it. I can't do the next couple of club meetings through work, but I'm going to have to try and work something out. Yeah, I'll have to have a look at the calendar and sort out another club meeting. So definitely want to do it. Definitely want to be there. Let me know your thoughts, feedback. What do you think? If you were there, if you were part of the organising of the club, what do you, have I said anything out of turn? Do you agree or disagree? Have I missed the point? It'd be nice to hear back. Without further ado, I will see you on the next club meeting. Thank you everyone at WRCC. It was a great day, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.